I'm Katherine G. McRae, and you're watching Perspective. My guests today are Olivia Brado, owner of Lavish Salon, and George Wright from John Howard Society. Welcome, you two. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having us.
I'd like to talk a little bit today about the Neighborhood Resource Center, where I met both of you at the Resource Center. I understand, Olivia, that you cut hair there once a week at the Resource Center.
I've been cutting hair there once a week, just shy of 2 years, every Wednesday from 2 to 4.
Okay, we'll come back to that. George, if you could tell us what your title is and what the Neighborhood Resource Center is all about.
Okay, first and foremost, I'm an employee of the John Howard Society. I am a options navigator, and really what that role is a person that provides information and connecting people with resources in the community. Now, in 2014, the police approached several agencies in the city and asked if they would be part of a project that they had running that included some of us co-locating for certain days of the week at the 138 Gore address. And the John Howard, of course, responded because we partner with as many organizations as we can. And so we ended up down there providing John Howard services from the Resource Center, and along with the other agencies that moved in and also assisted in providing services. So it's just like a big conglomerate of organizations that come together to try to meet the needs of the people who live in the area.
Why did they choose Gore Street to set up there?
It had an extremely high call rate with the city police. And in one of the 2012 census showed that there was significant social issues, there are significant poverty issues, educational issues. There's a whole lot of social ills in about 1,000 meters of that corner. And so it made perfect sense to move services to the center of where they were needed most.
Okay. George, maybe you can tell our viewers what kind of services are provided at the Neighborhood Resource Center on Gore Street in Sault Ste. Marie.
What we do from there is we provide, there's counseling services are provided out of there. There's a medical clinic that runs every Thursday. Olivia provides haircuts on Wednesday afternoons. The Algoma Legal Clinic, they provide information for folks in there. Ontario Works has workers that come out of their Ontario Disability Support Program, Algoma Public Health. I'm going to forget some and then I'll be in big trouble for it. But pretty much any need that a person will have, they can find information or actually connect up with the organization right there. So we provide a lot of services between counseling services, food services. We help people, with access to food. We have access to information, access to counseling, access to addiction services. There's a wide array of things that we do out of there.
Okay. Olivia, I was very interested when I found out that you cut hair every week at the Neighborhood Resource Center. Why did you choose to do that, and how did you get involved? And you do that strictly as a volunteer from your business. Yeah. Why did you decide to do that?
It started sort of as an accident. A client of mine who was a social worker had mentioned that they were needing somebody just prior to Christmas, 2 Christmases ago. And she'd asked me if I would go in just the one time, and I did. And then I fell in love with everybody there and all that they do. And I never wanted to leave.
As a new business owner, you're still a relatively new business owner. You just celebrated your first year in business. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That takes a full day away from your new business.
It's definitely crazy sometimes, a lot of running back and forth, but you get a lot more out of it than what you put in.
Why is that important to you?
Oh, so many reasons. I think that community wellness is a shared responsibility. And in the business that I'm in, I rely on support from the community. So you have to give it back somehow, some way, and I just use my skills and my trade to do that.
Okay, we're going to go to break and we'll be right back. I'm Katherine G. McRae. You're watching Perspective. My guests are George Wright from the John Howard Society and Olivia Brado, owner of Lavish Salon in Sault Ste. Marie. We're talking about the Neighborhood Resource Center. George, I wonder if you could tell me, if you will, who is the client or clients that would utilize the Neighborhood Resource Center?
Many of the people that are there or that come into the center are people who have access needs for different services in the community. The John Howard, for a long time, we've been an advocate for people who are disenfranchised very often from society or who have difficulty meeting many of their basic needs. And so those problems lead towards folks not knowing how to fulfill some of those needs. And the city's changed with the hospital moving up to the north and a lot of services not being available downtown. And when we put the center in and began working, we discovered that there were people who still needed the services but were unable to access them because they couldn't get there. Transportation is an issue. When you're dealing with trying to afford either rent or groceries, buying bus passes might be a luxury. And so we start doing those kinds of things to try to meet the needs that they had. We also found that there were people who didn't have primary care providers when the clinic came in. And so the doctor provides them with some primary care. Almost any social issue that someone would run into, we provide service there. And those clients in the beginning were very hesitant because we're hard to trust, right? We're service providers.
So there's trust issues there.
Absolutely.
You have to build trust first with these,
Absolutely.
with the clients.
Yes. And during the time, they began to recognize that we were good for what we said. We were going to be there when we were there, and we provide them with good service. And we make sure that if they have a need, we will work together to fulfill those needs. Now, I've worked with people who have housing issues and maybe food security issues, where I would be able to provide service at the same time as someone from ODSP that would help them with their income, and someone from the credit counseling to help them with budgeting. All of it happens in the same place because we all are there one day or the other during the week, or some of us multiple days.
So they can pretty much get the services that they need all in one place, from healthcare to haircuts, to budgeting, financial, to addiction services as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We do our best to try to get people services as quickly as possible, because usually when they're there, it's not they're not there because they have nothing else to do. They're there because they've come to the end of a line.
Olivia, you go in there to cut hair. What does that do for the client? Now, the clients that are coming in there, they're many of them are on the edge of society and feel pushed away to the edge. What do you take away, and what does the client take away that someone cares enough to come in there and cut their hair for them?
Well, I think I'm fortunate enough to have a really good relationship with all of my clients who I see there. But for a lot of them, I don't feel like they have anybody who cares on a personal level. They lack love, to put it blatantly. So I'm assuming, I hope for them, when I go there, I'm not just cutting their hair. It's giving them confidence. It's giving them, maybe the drive to do good. Because my personal belief is that when you look good, you feel good. And when you feel good, you are more likely to go out and do good. So it's a good starting point to kind of enforce change.
Absolutely. That's fantastic. We have to go to break now. We'll be right back with Olivia Brado from Lavish Hair Salon and George Wright of John Howard Society. talking about the Neighborhood Resource Center. Please stay with us. I'm Katherine G. McRae. You're watching Perspective. Today we're talking about the Neighborhood Resource Center in Sault Ste. Marie with John Howard Society's George Wright and Olivia Brado, owner of Lavish Hair Salon. George, you mentioned the clients coming in there and all the services that are available to those clients that prior to the Resource Center coming on stream, they would have had to travel north up to the hospital.
Well, for some of them, yes. There are still services in the downtown core, but the city has expanded some, and one of the issues with people who are living on rather limited budgets is transportation. It's a big deal, and poverty becomes really a driving factor. And so we saw the need, because of the social determinants of health, that we saw that there was a gap in that area. And so we provided service there. And John Howard, we've been doing that for a long time in this community. In fact, we're celebrating our 50th anniversary this year. And
wow.
It was important to us that our clientele, which is a large number of people in this area, receive the service they need, even though they couldn't get there. So
this is a one-stop shop, basically, that they can
yes,
receive all the services they're in need of.
we do our best to provide that, yes.
Okay. I know, as in with everything in life, there's pros and cons to everything, and there's always two sides to everything as well.
Sure.
No matter how much the impetus and focus is on trying to do something positive in society, there's always going to be naysayers.
Yep.
There's people in the downtown area with residences close by to the Neighborhood Resource Center, and some of them are not happy. What would you say to those people that are against, say, the Neighborhood Resource Center being in their immediate vicinity?
The Neighborhood Resource Center was selected because of the high level of social ills that we had in that area. The police responded there. Their calls for service were extremely high. What we've seen is a reduction in that. And so, granted, I do understand that it does change the dynamic of your neighborhood, but we have people now who are living in the neighborhood that come there and volunteer to serve sandwiches one day, or to make sure the coffee is on for people to stop in. During the wintertime, many folks warmed up. There is no system that's perfect, and there is no service that's perfect, but when you're dealing with some of the negative situations that people live with, yeah, we're aware that some people are not happy, but there are a lot more that are. And I think
And the fact that it's reduced the number of police calls,
Yes.
is that a significant reduction in calls since the Resource Center opened up?
I don't have the numbers because, of course, I'm not a police officer. But my understanding is that they did have enough of a reduction in service that they continued with the center.
And it was a police initiative
It was
to open
there.
the center in the first place, so
Yes.
for good reason.
Yeah. So, and all of us who are organizations who partner with the police, we saw this as a really valuable tool to make sure the clients receive the services. We know that the reason people call the police isn't necessarily always for crimes. It's social ills a lot of times.
Okay. We have to go to break. We'll be right back. You're watching Perspective. Please stay with us. I'm Katherine G. McRae. You're watching Perspective. We're talking about the Neighborhood Resource Center with my guests today, George Wright from the John Howard Society, and Olivia Brado, owner of Lavish Salon. Just before we went to break, George, we were talking about young people in the community. A lot of people have a sense that this younger generation may be a little bit lost and doesn't have a community spirit and initiative. And I think we don't agree with that.
No, we certainly don't. I hear a lot of talk about millennials. They do like their phones. I will give them that. But Olivia is a very young person. I won't give her age, and she can do that. But she has a social conscience, a person at her age who is looking out for other people. And some of the volunteers that we have at the center that live in our neighborhood that are young people as well, and they come and give of their time every single day. There are a lot of really good young folks out there who are really interested in making their community a better place. And I, as well as many of the others that I work with out of the center, are very interested in supporting that.
Excellent.
We want them.
I know when I visited the center, a young woman by the name of Bridget showed me around. She was very knowledgeable and very professional in showing me around the center. Olivia, I had read your story previously and heard about you volunteering to give haircuts at the center, which I think is amazing. You are a young person yourself and a new business owner. Mm-hmm. Do you want to tell our viewers how old you are?
I'm 21.
21, and you're volunteering your time away from your own business to offer haircuts to the clients at the Neighborhood Resource Center.
It's my favorite part of my whole week.
Your favorite part of the whole, why is that?
I say that all the time. It's just a really beautiful place, and a lot of good comes out of there. Kind of how you were saying previously about some people having negative opinions about the center. It most certainly does more than good, and it does great.
Excellent.
Changes people's lives, absolutely.
The center runs with a lot of volunteers as well. Not just all the agencies, but then there's volunteers that come in. George, you were speaking to that about the many volunteers.
There are people in our community who are paid to come in. There are people who work there free of charge. The doctors, and this is all out of their own pockets. This is not a paid clinic. If someone has an OHIP card, fine, they get paid. If they don't have an OHIP card, they are not denied service. They are treated, and the doctors do this for free. There's a lot of volunteerism. It is, it truly is. The center has a lot of volunteerism. One of the things that John Howard for years has been used volunteers as well as paid persons. So we know the value of motivating a community and working together with the folks over there. I think it helps us to grow our community. We can do a lot of good. We really can. People care about this community, and by giving of ourselves, whether it's through our employment or whether it's through our volunteer time, but by giving of ourselves to others, we make this a better place to live.
I know there's some real hardships and some real hard stories with some of the people that utilize the Neighborhood Resource Center. And there's also, you know, people teetering on the edge too. How does that help them, or have you seen lives been turned around since that Neighborhood Resource Center opened?
I have, personally. I've worked with persons who were in a very fragile place, and we have seen them now in a more stable place in the community, having a much better sense of self, much better sense of being able to meet their own needs, and that's a big deal. And sometimes it's not even the work that we do. Sometimes it's the work that we do with someone else who helps their neighbor. It's that collaborative effect that happens. Like the Resource Center has no boss, so to speak. All of us are there for one purpose, and that's to assist in whatever way we can.
And everyone who's there and working there, whether they're paid staff or volunteers, they want to be there. They want to contribute. Yeah. As you do, Olivia, as a young person, which you could be doing a million other things, like helping older people figure out how to use technology. You're freely giving of your time and service to be there because you believe in in the Neighborhood Resource Center and what you're offering clients, and you believe in the people that utilize.
I believe in our community, first and foremost. I think we have a great community. Everyone falls on hard times.
Okay.
Okay. Everybody needs help now and again, and I think what's important to remember is everyone that you come across is somebody's mother, somebody's father, sister, brother, son, and everyone deserves a chance and a helping hand.
That's fantastic. We have to go to break. We'll be right back with Perspective. You're watching Perspective. We're talking about the Neighborhood Resource Center on Gore Street with my guest, Olivia Brado, owner of Lavish Salon, and George Wright of the John Howard Society. Before the break, George, we talked about the volunteers and the clients that utilize the Neighborhood Resource Center and the benefits to the clients. Can you talk about the greater benefit of the Neighborhood Resource Center? How does it benefit the city of Sault Ste. Marie and the overall community?
Absolutely. Anytime that we develop or help the city to grow in a positive way, I think it benefits the entire community. We have, we're able to provide things for people in a way for them to develop their own skill sets, for them to obtain and find items that they need. They're going to grow. Many times people become discouraged because they've met with the word no too many times, or you can't do that. Well, maybe we just didn't look hard enough for them to do that. One of the great things about working out of the center, now I've been with the John Howard Society for several years, and one of the best parts of my job now is that working in the outreach capacity, I get to see hope in people's eyes. When something good can happen, when you offer that little wee bit extra and you see that flicker of hope.
How does that feel when you see that glimmer of hope in someone that was maybe hopeless prior to that point? And came
very
in
satisfying.
Discouraged and maybe a last-ditch attempt to turn their life around or to grab onto something to hang on to for a reason to hang on.
Yeah, that's one of those very fulfilling moments in life that you can't buy it, you can't make it. It's just there, and I think it's really worthwhile. For me, it is. And I think Olivia too.
And Olivia, as a business owner, providing services there as a business, how does that enhance your business and enhance the operations of your business as a business owner in giving back? How does that enhance?
Well, for me personally, my salon is located downtown. It's on Queen Street. But I think that when the people of downtown are doing better and they show signs of improvement, downtown as a whole improves. So I don't know. It's great.
Excellent. So, George, with the Neighborhood Resource Center being located on Gore Street and accessible to a focused area where they've recognized is the greatest need in the city, that is providing a service to the entire city in helping get people off the street. It also, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, it's also helping people deal with addictions as well and maybe overcome those addictions.
There's a lot of social issues that we have in any community, and Sault Ste. Marie is no different than every community. So if you can provide people with access to resources, if you can provide them with skills and knowledge that they can use to move forward, show them even simple tasks or anything that can help them move in a forward direction. I've been with John Howard, as I said, for a long time now, and my whole life has been towards assisting people have a better outcome and moving forward. And so we're doing that in an area that had a great need. And I think that's an awesome thing to do. And the people who live there, they're helping out, they're taking some ownership of it, and I think that's
So you've
can
got
only get better.
volunteers living in the community that maybe weren't too happy about the resource center going in there that are now volunteering at the resource center.
That has happened as well.
How rewarding is that?
Yeah, it's really good. I like I said, it's a good thing when you work in this industry and you can see people's lives change.
There's a lot of people that would just, shudder and have maybe a visceral reaction to some of the clients in the center. If there's something that you can leave with our viewers, we do have to wrap up now. What would be that succinct sentence, if you will, that you could offer our viewers about the resource center that would maybe aren't familiar with what goes on there and the lives that are being saved, if you will?
If I could put it into one simple statement, every person is worth something. And at the center and the organizations that work out of the center want to be able to show people their worth, give them their value back. Because when people have value, they will act with value.
That's incredible. I want to thank you both for joining me on Perspective today. Olivia Brado, owner of Lavish Salon, and George Wright, John Howard Society. Thank you so much. I'm Katherine G. McRae. Till next time, what's your perspective?